Hey guys, how you doing? Yes, my name is Kathu and welcome to my channel, Learn Math with Kathu. So in our last lesson, when we were talking about odd and even numbers, I left you with one question for practice. Did you try answering the question? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave the link in the description box below so that you're all on the same page. So, what was the question? How many odd numbers are there between 100 and 120? So here, we'll write all the numbers from 100 to 120, and then we'll say if the numbers are odd or even numbers, okay? And you say that even numbers are numbers that end with multiples of 2, like 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8, okay? And you say that odd numbers are the numbers that are not even numbers. That's what you said, right? So let's get into it. So, is 100 an even number? Yes, 100 is an even number. 101 is odd. This is even. This is odd. This is even. This is odd. This is even. And this is odd. Okay? Let's continue. This is even. This is odd. This is even. This is odd. This is even. This is odd. This is even. And this is odd. Okay? Let's finish up quickly. This is even. This is odd. This is even. This is odd. And this is even. Okay? Yes. So now that we've done that, we can see that we have how many odd numbers do we have in this question? Let's count together. We have 1. And I hope you remember what you said about odd and even numbers. I explained in our last video I went into more detail about odd and even numbers. That's why I'm not explaining as much today. So how many odd numbers do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we can conclude that we have 10 odd numbers. Okay? And that's the answer to that question, right? Yes. So now that we've done that, let's now go through the topic that I wanted us to talk about today. So today, I wanted us to talk about operations on odd and even numbers. Okay? Today, I want us to talk about operation on odd and even numbers. So now I believe that we've all understood what even and odd numbers are, so we can now try and operate them. Okay, and see how it goes. So, what happens when you add an even number with another even number? Let's look at some examples. So, we have a number like 10, which is even, plus 6. 10 plus 6 gives us 16, an even number. Okay? Let's look at another example. 4 plus 8 gives us 12. Okay? So we can comfortably conclude that an even number plus an even number is equals to an even number. Okay? Are we together? So what happens when you add an odd number plus another odd number? Let's see. What happens when you add 7 plus 9 gives us 16. Okay, which is an even number. Let's look at another example. 5 plus 7 gives us 12. So that means that we can comfortably conclude that an odd plus odd is equals to even. Are we together? Moving on swiftly. What do you get when you add an odd number with an even number? As usual, let's look at some examples. So when we have 7 plus 8, 7 plus 8 is 15, okay? Let's look at another example. What happens when you have 9 plus 2? 9 plus 2 is 11, and 11 is an odd number. So we can comfortably conclude that an odd number plus an even number gives us an odd number, okay? So what happens when we add an even number plus an odd number? So since we've just learned that an odd number plus an even number gives us an odd number, would it be right to also say that an even number plus an odd number is also an odd number? Like here, we just change the location of the even and odd numbers. So let's see. Let's look at some examples to see if we can make that conclusion. So if we have 8 plus 1, 8 plus 1 is 9, okay? And another example, 6 plus 7 gives us 13. So yes, we can comfortably conclude that even plus odd gives us odd. Are we together? Moving on swiftly. What happens when you subtract an even number from another even number? So 10 minus 2 will give you 8, okay? Another example would be, say, 4 minus 2. 4 minus 2 will also give you 2, okay? So we can comfortably conclude that an even minus even gives us even, okay? Moving on swiftly. What happens when you subtract an odd number from another odd number? As usual, let's look at some examples. So 9 minus 7 gives us 2, okay? Another example would be 13 minus 5 gives us 8. So we can say odd minus odd is equals to even. Are we together? Okay. Let's continue. What happens when you subtract an even number from an odd number from an even number? Let's look at some examples. So 8 minus 3 is 5, okay? And yeah, 38 minus 7, another example to qualify our answer. 38 minus 7 will give us 31. So we can say even minus odd is odd. Are we together? Okay, so what happens when we add an odd number minus an even number? So what do you get? So if you take 3 minus 2, for example, what do you get? 1, which is an odd number, okay? And 9 minus 2 is also an odd number. So we can say odd minus even is odd. Are we together? And have we realized something? Like when we add or subtract the same types of numbers, we get an even number, okay? Like when we even plus or minus even gives us an even number, okay? And odd plus or minus odd gives us an even number. Are we together? And when we add or subtract different types of numbers, we get an odd number. What am I saying? I'm saying when we even plus or minus odd gives us an odd number, okay? And odd plus or minus even gives us an odd number. Are we together? Okay. Let's now see what happens when we multiply the numbers. So what happens when we multiply even times even? So 8 times 8 is 64, okay? Which is an even number. And another example will be 4 times 2 is 8. So even times even is even, okay? Okay, so what happens when we multiply odd times odd? What do you get? So let's take a number like 3 times 3. 3 times 3 gives us 9, okay? So we can conclude that odd times odd gives us odd, okay? And if you're still not satisfied, you can try and multiply more numbers and see what you'll get, okay? Okay, so what happens when you multiply an even number and an odd number? Let's look at an example. When you multiply 8 times 3, you get, what is 8 times 3? 24. Okay, so we can conclude that even times odd is even. Are we following? And last but not least, what happens when we multiply an odd number times an even number? Is the opposite also true? So if we have something like 5 times 6, 5 times 6 is 30. So that means that we can conclude that odd times even is even, okay? Are we together? Yes, and that's basically it. So that brings us to the end of our lesson. So I believe we have all understood this topic, and today I won't leave you with any question for practice. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't practice, okay? Math is pretty easy and fun, right? Exactly. You know the drill. Practice makes perfect. If you enjoyed the lesson, feel free to like, share, because sharing is caring, and subscribe so that you don't miss any time I upload a new video. Subscribing is free. Yay! See you in 2 weeks' time. Same place, same time. Bye!